Greetings, 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 everyone. Good morning to you. It's Crypto Coffee. What is the date? It's May 18th. It's Crypto Coffee with Todd Lewis. Not today. Todd Lewis is trying to get to Max Freeman from Brazil and is having a little bit of travel difficulties. So we thought we would be able to hook up this morning, but pinch hitting for Todd Lewis is Max Freeman. So bonus. Now, the problem with this, of course, is, first of all, Max, good morning. Welcome to the show. Just, Merry Christmas, as you can see by my mug.
Good morning. It is very early out here. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. So if I'm not sharp, I have the best excuse ever.
You do. Everybody. Last night, it's like I messaged Max and I said, bro, I don't think you want me going solo over the positive attributes of Epic Cash that you and Todd Lewis designed. So can you pinch hit? And thank you. You said, I'll be there. And you're here. So thank you very much for that. But what you aren't here as is your own persona where we can see you, where Todd Lewis does. And so, folks,
you should consider yourself fortunate in that regard. I'm doing you a favor.
Folks, sorry, the dueling banjos of T-shirts. It's going to be one-sided. But I wanted to tell you that, nobody can accuse me of not being the hardest working uncle in crypto. And I'll tell you why. I get up at the crack of ass and I go feed my farm animals. Yeah, my farm animals. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you. And then what do? I hit the gym, man. I want you to observe my impeccable pecs and my washboard stomach. I mean, guys, you can't buy this kind of physique. Except you can. That's my T-shirt for the week. So you guys get to see me all tatted up. And actually, I do have a tattoo here. See that? It says, that's Houdini. And it says, Abby Cadabra, Alex Kazam. My daughter's names are Abby and Alex. And I put myself through college as a magician. And so I thought putting Houdini on there with Abby Cadabra, Alex Kazam would be kind of cool. See what happens when you're 28 and drunk in Vegas. That's my fallback. Okay. Well, like I said, before even the sun comes up, I go and I feed my farm animals. Let me share my screen with you. All right. This is my backyard. If you can see that. Now, these are two of my good friends. These are the two that I have coffee with. That's Mama right there. And then way back here is the little one that I call Shysta because she's so darn shy. She won't come out. And that's Ben. I don't know why I named him Ben, but I named him Ben. But every morning I wake up and I have this apple corn spreader. And so I will walk through this gate right here, if you can see that. I'll walk through and I'll go back and I'll just start spreading apple corn. And then they come out and they eat. And then if you'll see here, today I tried an experiment and I cut some apples to see if they might enjoy that. But they didn't. They leave those. But no worries, because Rocky Raccoon, after they're done, Rocky Raccoon and some buddies will come and basically clean everything up. Anything that's out there, they'll clean up. And this is my morning, guys.
Well, Uncle, would you say those are your dear friends?
Yeah, it's Wednesday morning. Crypto Coffee with Todd Lewis. While you guys are having your breakfast. Yeah. Do you guys want to tune in to the Uncle Vigilante show and learn about the positive attributes of Epic Cash? Well, today I think we have a special guest because Todd Lewis is having a bit of trouble. But you just go ahead and eat. Whoops. And eat the breakfast I gave you. Oops, sorry. Come back, Mama. Come back. I'm going in. All right. And go get Shysta. Where's Shysta? The little one. I haven't seen Shysta this morning. All right? Love you. I hate to say it, the second thought that went through my mind. I don't know if you guys remember me. Actually, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't show it here, but I was on one of my cigar walks recently, and I came across, no kidding, a Florida panther. I mean, like literally right in my cigar walk path. There was a Florida panther that was just sitting by the sidewalk, just sitting there all proud. I mean, like muscle bound. These things are amazing. So I got my cell phone out and I captured the video. And again, I can't remember if I've already showed it here, but I'm like, on the video, I'm like, all right, should I do the dumbass thing? And I'm like, yeah. And so I start walking with recording, and then the panther just went into the woods. Thankfully, Mr. P, my best friend in life, is like, he calls me Papa, my last name. And he's like, Papa, you're a dumbass. Don't do that. They are not your pets. Okay. Hey, this is Crypto Coffee. We do this every morning with Todd Lewis. It's always a lot of fun. It is one of two of my favorite hours of the week. Welcome everyone in the chat. Please smash that like button. I see we have 10 people watching right now who have their coffee, but we only have 4 likes. So let's at least get some parity there. All right. You know, if you're coming to watch, just hit that like button. And even though I am shadow banned, hey, make sure you're subscribed. I've been perpetually at 2,900 subscribers for like almost a year. And I'm thinking all the work that I put in over the year, that maybe some of you may have even shared my channel with others. And if you haven't, why not? Huh? Help me get over 3,000. I don't know why. It's just going to make me feel better. I think I might scrub this tattoo and say, I'm over 3,000. Screw you, YouTube. Shall we do that? You guys help? And I'll do that. All right. That's my commitment, or at least I'll buy a t-shirt that says that. Okay. Look, what is today about? What are Wednesday mornings all about? It is about the quest for superior money. Now, this week, unlike last week, I actually can share my screen. And I'm really excited about today. And Monkman, I know that you would rather us not pay attention to just the chart all the time, and I'll try to do better. But this is very important because, Max, I know you've been watching, but I want to bring you up to speed on what we've done. And let me just explain this for the uninitiated. What we did before even starting this series is think about superior money, like total whiteboard thing, right? If we could create superior money, okay, let me do this, because then Monkman won't yell at me. So I'm looking at you. So what we did is this: if we could create superior money based upon history and looking back on what has proven to be maybe not superior money, but really, really good money, and what's been bad money that has death spiraled. Hello, Argentina. Hello, Venezuela. And then took it from a different perspective and looked forward with today's technology. Okay. So if we can add in the historical record with our today's current technology, then what might we be able to create that would solve a lot of issues? And so we put a lot of thought into what are all of the attributes associated with superior money. Now, thank you, Spencer, and your team for updating the PDF today. Now I'll share it. And I want to just let you know, and we're still working on this, guys, but you'll see this box right here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me click on that X. No, I think they said this was a scroll over. If I scroll over it, anyway, what we're working on is quantum future proofed. That was one of the qualities that we reviewed together in our previous shows. And I recommend all of you go back to the first show and just start from the beginning. Binge watch this stuff. You'll become smarter, tapping into the right and left side of Todd Lewis's brain. But quantum future proof, this is ultimately going to say FF, which is future feature. We're working on it, but we're not putting anything in there right now. So the quest for superior money, what are the qualities? Now, what we're doing here, as you can see, is let's just use scarcity as an example, is we're comparing Epic, Bitcoin is the 800-pound gorilla, obviously in crypto. Thank you, Bitcoin. If it weren't for you, crypto may not exist. So we love Bitcoin. We're just taking a deep dive into, when you have Bitcoin, and when they launched it, they didn't have today's tech. So anything that we review about Bitcoin is not a knock. It's just being very, very pragmatic. We also have gold, which historically has been considered superior money at times. And then, of course, we have the Federal Reserve notes, or cash, and then the Federal Reserve digital credits, which are these CBDCs that it seems like every country out there is coming out with the intention of perhaps getting rid of cash, Federal Reserve notes, and forcing people into these CBDCs, which are just entries on a computer, programmable money that easy come, easy go. You don't do the right things. You don't vote the right way. You drive too fast. Boom. You can't spend your digital credits. Okay, so the qualities, and Max, I'm setting the table right now. And then this is going to be about you. And I have one question for you that I know you. I'm not even going to ask you to turn over an hourglass, because I want you to just go free form like you're a rapper, man, and just start talking about this. You can rap if you want to, by the way, too. Monkman could do a lot with that. But I want to go down the qualities, of which, after coming up with this list, I presented them to Todd Lewis and to Max Freeman and said, am I thinking about this right? Because what I've done is I have put down 17 qualities, but it wasn't without a lot of input from a lot of members from the Epic Cash community. We did what you call, Max, ideate, and we came up with these. And then we thought, let's do a fair comparison. If there is superior money out there, let's take the top 5 in consideration, and we're putting Epic there. Look, if you're another coin project, do the same thing. Put yours there too. You can do the same thing. It's just that I cover Epic Cash, and I happen to think, giving the end away, that the one left standing is going to be Epic Cash. But we're not just going to say that. We're going to demonstrate it through this series to talk about it. So these are the attributes that you must consider if you're ultimately going to have superior money. I'm just going to go through these real quickly, and then I'm going to hand it over to you, Max. But means of payment. Now, I have perceived there, and if you look down here at the bottom, we have, we have restricted. So there is a difference. Means of payment. We are going to do those two last, on purpose, with intent, because those are going to book in the series, and you're going to see why. And I think you'll really, really appreciate why we left them for last. All right. So the qualities are superior money should be open to everyone. It should be a medium of exchange and a unit of account. Should be immutable, borderless, neutral. It should absolutely be censorship resistant. It should be a great store of value, which needs to have scarcity associated with it. Needs to be durable, inflation resistant, decentralized. There needs to be a fair launch, needs to have independent governance, needs to be portable, needs to be mobile, needs to be publicly verifiable on a network, trustless, divisible, very important, digital. We're talking about today's tech, today's world. Superior money needs to be digital, or at least I propose that. And by the way, on all of these, I've made my guesses. And when Todd and I go through these every week, I reveal them. Like I pretty sure Epic is digital. I'm pretty sure that gold is not. See what I did there? All right, let me uncheck that, uncheck that. I'm going to go back up here. Check that, just makes it nicer. Okay, so we got the digital. It needs to be regulation friendly. And Max, I really want you to unpack that today. It needs to be available to the unbanked, the 1.8 billion people who do not have access to a bank account. So I'm pretty sure that the Federal Reserve digital credits are not going to be available to the unbanked. Needs to be fungible. We talked about that in an earlier show. Again, I recommend you go watch it. Needs to be quantum future proofed, meaning somebody's not going to come pick your pocket and steal all your money in the future because of AI. Surveillance resistant. Well, let me just give you a little peek in the barrel. With our transactions, they're surveillance resistant because of Mimblewimble, Dandelion, and what's the other one, Max?
Well, you have CoinJoin.
Yeah,
and cut through. You have Peterson commitments. You have Schnorr signatures. You have I2P. You have Tor. You can also send offline cold to cold without touching the network.
Thank you. And I'm pretty sure Bitcoin can't. Why can't Bitcoin? Why isn't Bitcoin surveillance resistant? Can you tell me about the industry that has risen around surveilling Bitcoin and why?
MasterCard bought Elliptic for 3.2 billion. I think Chainalysis was recently valued at 8.6 billion. Palantir is a monster. There is so much money to be made in tracking and tracing and surveilling people, basically pimping out your data. There are more CCTV cameras in London than people, for example, that perhaps may not be accurate, but at least directionally it's true. So there's just a lot of money to be made in
so basically we could have a one-liner on our business card that says Epic Cash, kind of like Bitcoin, but can't be pimped out. Maybe that's not a good t-shirt, but you know what? It's my movie, so I'm going to put it out there in the universe.
I hate to even call it Bitcoin anymore because it's strayed so far. It's BTC. Not. It's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin Core or BTC. And you can call it however you want. Yoga fights me on this. He's like, I'm just going to call it Bitcoin, and we agree to disagree. But I don't want to give it the label when it is not that, because there's so much confusion about what Bitcoin actually is. That monstrosity is
okay, Max. I'm going to interrupt you because that's going to be part of your your rap song. Okay, so survivable, which means multi-algo mining. So if one form of mining gets shut down, it's not going to kill the coin, kill the money. Permissionless is very important. Scalable and fast. We covered that last week. Eco-friendly, which definitely has to do with multi-algo mining. We can dive into that. Confiscation resistance, widespread acceptance. We talked about means of payment, restricted, and then shame on me, the original PDF, as everyone knows, this is a new PDF this week, is private by default. I cannot believe that I missed private by default on my initial pass.
We take it for granted.
Yeah, there's a check there. And no, to BTC Bitcoin Core. Okay, so that is it. And one last thing before I hand it over is we really did this because we wanted to be able to have a conversation to where, let's just say, okay, now you guys know we have this, and this is ultimately going to be a tool. And let's say that you are in a conversation with somebody who we call a gold bug, that they just think that, hey, the only investment should be gold, or those people who are BTC maxis. If you're not Bitcoin, you're a shit coin. And so this becomes a very pragmatic way, because after we are completely done with this, and Todd Lewis and Max, who created Epic Cash together, they agree with the check marks and X's and make sure I didn't screw anything up. But then this becomes an exercise that you can go through where it's all blank at the beginning. And you can say, let's walk through this together. First of all, did we miss anything? When you think about superior money, did we miss anything? Please, these are what we came up with, but this is not just my movie. This is yours. You have a seat at the table. I want to be very pragmatic in the approach, and I want to be able to back up everything that I think, but I don't know everything. So I need you to come around on my side of the table, and please, let's go through this exercise together. And ultimately, when we identify the qualities, the attributes of superior money, and we can agree or disagree or whatnot, but this is, at least I'm taking a shot, right? Then let's go through them together. And I'll tell you why, between Epic, Bitcoin, gold, Federal Reserve notes, CBDCs, I'll tell you what I think. And I'm going to ask, do you agree or disagree? And where we have our disagreement, we can have some great conversations, but I guarantee you we're going to agree more than disagree. And this, for me, becomes an exercise and a tool to where, instead of us going into battle, right? Like, Max, imagine if you had this as an exercise when you and Yoga got ambushed by those BTC men. You can simply start it off and say, guys, before we talk about, who's better and why, can we at least agree on, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, I'm sure you consider it superior money. Yes. Good. Okay. We happen to think Epic Cash is. Certainly, there's not widespread acceptance like there is with Bitcoin Core, but and we'll raise our hands anywhere where we, where we have a black eye. We're gonna actually be honest and truthful, and we hope you will too. And can we go through this exercise? Can we just talk about the attributes that would on our quest together for superior money? That's the purpose, everyone, of this entire series, so that we're not going like this with people. No, it's more judo or aikido, to where you use the force of the other assets against them. Even though an asset's not a them, you get what I'm saying. Okay, Max, enough about me. I'd love for you to use this as an opportunity. We're not going to check the boxes. We can check the boxes and reveal things, sure. But I'm going to save the final box checking for Todd Lewis, so that series will be full and complete to get his point of view. But I love the fact you're on the show. I am sorry for my long-winded introduction. Welcome to the show, Max. Again.
Let's get it, as Ernest says.
All right. So A, what do you think of the exercise? B, did we nail the qualities? Have we missed anything? And C, as you go through here, do you want to unpack any of these and really prioritize? Like, when you and Todd were sitting around talking about this, what went through your mind?
Yeah, so just a bit of feedback to iterate for next week. I would actually condense survivable and future-proofed. To me, future-proofed, like quantum resistance or quantum readiness, is one subset of that. And then survivability with the multi-algo is another part of that. Because what happens is a lot of these algorithms prove to, technology moves on, and then they start out secure, and then eventually you can't use them anymore, and you have to be able to change them on the fly.
Right, because I'm making my notes so that I'm
right.
It's survivable, and what would you?
Well, we can talk about it offline later. But basically, future proofing is a bucket that has various subparts, and they're kind of interrelated. It basically, we don't want to expose our users to risk, hidden technology paradigm shifts that come in from left field. Like what we're doing to Bitcoin Core, we don't want that to happen to us. So we've really thought ahead on that. One part is quantum, and the other part with the multi-algo is that we can flexibly swap between different algorithms to adjust to changing technology realities.
Okay, give me an example of what could possibly happen that you're like, because you always talk about you created Epic, you and Todd created Epic with defensive design in mind. So give us an example. What could happen if we were like everyone else?
All right. So when Litecoin first came out in 2013, they used an algorithm called scrypt. And that was decided, okay, we're going to have this different algorithm that makes it more mineable, ASIC resistance. So it was a big buzzword. And then what did we find a few years later? Oh, wow. Now there's ASICs for scrypt. Same with Equihash over in Zcash. When Zcash launched, you could do mining on ordinary equipment. And then before long, once the money was there, then ASICs got developed and it drove centralization at the mining layer. So basically, if you look at the game theory of people making special purpose equipment versus our ability to change against that, we have the ability to be proactive and not have to have a perfect crystal ball. We can be technology agnostic as far as which algorithms will eventually best suit our needs and pick among them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So in combining them, I guess my only pushback on that would be when you have quantum future proof, that allows you to really be able to take a deep dive into quantum. What is it?
Well, that's why I wanted to condense them, because they're related. So for right now, we have RandomX, we have ProgPow, and we have Cuckoo. And nobody on the planet, even if they say they do, understands how quantum computing might affect our information technology landscape. So let's say that we need to introduce a new algorithm that is quantum resistant. Todd and I have discussed this at length over the years. There's a certain type of algorithm called a structured lattice that basically quantum computers can't do. And so we're going to have that like that shotgun shell loaded up in the chamber, ready to slot in there. It'll be ready.
How do you load up those shotgun shells?
Yeah, so that's where ECK comes in. So ECK is our canary network. We can spin up new algorithms and test them and see what works and what doesn't, and what breaks, and then de-risk it before pulling it into Epic. So incidentally, on that, Todd just gave me an update yesterday that they've done some modifications and automated testing that enable like massive scale wallet creations. Like let's say, right now we only have a relatively small number of users. And if you go and create a gazillion wallets, then maybe it'll crash and overflow their device. And then the script messes up, like, how Bitmart had their security hiccup. And all these chains have, wormhole hack and Ronin and stuff like that. If you really dig, pull on the thread and dig deep and figure out why, fundamentally, what was the underlying root cause of why those happened, it's stuff like that. And so we're anticipating a time when millions of people a day will want to open wallets, and the big boys will want to be able to use us on a mass scale. And that means we need to have our stuff bulletproof, not just on a small or medium scale, but on a large scale as well.
Okay, let me ask you a question about Luna and UST that happened this week. What, Max, on this list would you say, based upon our design, would help us or would be defensive to where that wouldn't happen?
How is our stuff not going to blow up like Luna did, according to this framework? Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So basically, Luna was the asset that enabled people to create UST, which was designed to be a stablecoin, meant to be a medium of exchange. They signed a bunch of partnerships with e-commerce merchants and DeFi farming and stuff like that. They said, okay, we've got this stablecoin UST that people can use as a means of payment. That's great, but it has a hidden risk. Oh, you got to share screen again so I can
Oh,
see
I'm
it.
sorry. I just thought people like to see my pecs and my superior
I know I do. What are you doing later?
Okay, sorry. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna skip these next ones. Censorship resistance is really the fatal flaw there. They had a design, a flawed design that enabled the network to be attacked. Basically, it was safe up until it got to the point where it was big enough for somebody to muster $1 billion, I think was the number, to go and attack it. And then they were able to do a George Soros Bank of England attack the peg sort of thing, and know it can work. There's been a lot of postmortems.
Max,
Yeah.
I know you know a ton about it because you've studied every one of them, and we're going to have our own stable coin or crypto dollar, as you call it.
We'll call it a stable coin.
So I'm really, really curious for those of us who still are, newbies. What is required to create a crypto dollar or a stable coin that would persist? It just seems now to me, I'm worried about even USDT and others, how vulnerable all of those are.
Yeah, exactly. Censorship resistance. I mean, hell, we could be here all day just on that one topic. Like, basically, you need to be a tinfoil hat is not enough. You need like a tinfoil helmet, and like a paranoiac's sense of impending doom always. I mean, you've seen some of these rocket scientists, genius guys. Hell, whoever solved the puzzle, we don't even know who they are. It's not that the other guys were dummies. It's just there was that one special person that had that insight. A lot of this stuff is really complicated. And so what keeps me up at night, or not anymore, because I'm increasingly confident that we've got all angles covered. But let's say you have some situation where 1 out of every 10 million times, like the eighth decimal place, 0.00000001 in the equation, and almost always it nets out properly. But then that one, what is known as an edge case, there's some situation that enables somebody clever to make a lot of money by blowing it up. What we need to do is just really start from a process of assuming that it's a hostile world out there, and that if it can be killed, it will be killed. If it can be exploited, it will be exploited. And just think like a hacker, and think like a hedge fund trader, and think like one of these bankster scumbags that just they're predator sharks out there that are completely amoral. Don't hate the player, hate the game is the mindset. And so Todd and I happen to agree on this, that code is law. In Ethereum world, if you don't like the outcome of the game, you just go back and change the rules of the game retroactively, and you're like, oh, red team, they're going to win today. Like blue team won, but yeah, we're going to go back and like adjust it according to community standards, the more like Facebook type of paternalistic model. But in our case, code is law, and we have to get it absolutely perfect up front. And so that means just endless hours of brainstorming about how in the world do we kill this thing. Oops. Okay. I mean, I remember Todd came to see me in 2019, and I was like, hey, Todd, looking back, I was so naive and wet behind the ears. Todd, I have this great idea for a crypto dollar. And within like 2 seconds, he's like, I could kill it these 7 ways. Go back to the drawing board. And then I was like, oh, okay, want to grab a beer?
Hey, Max,
yeah.
Speaking of Todd Lewis, because he's a humble guy, he's not going to talk about it, and I really don't know his total background, but can you tell everybody a little bit about Todd Lewis, because the dude comes from some pretty good stock.
Yeah, he's from Alabama. I'm sure you didn't mean that. So how I met Todd was that a friend of mine, one of my investments, Todd and this friend of mine started a company together, and they met at Goldman Sachs. They were doing the like architecture development for like high frequency trading, quantitative strategies, things like that. So like basically the biggest, smartest money in the world, how those guys make their tech work. That's what Todd did. And so he has a background in that world. And one of the reasons I happen to get along with Todd so well is due to a moral conflict as far as the value system of that amoral predatory environment. He said, you know what, like no amount of money is worth it for me to sell my soul. I want to do something productive for the world and put my skills to positive use rather than just lining my pockets. And so about 5 years ago or so, I think he started his own software development firm. And now he handles many clients in a range of fields, doing basically magical things, making ones and zeros bang together, as he calls it.
That's great. And I will tell you one thing that in our offline conversations, part of that, looking forward and doing good is having a crypto that is available to the unbanked. That means a lot to him. He lives down in Brazil. Perhaps he's seen more of the unbanked than most. I don't know. But that is in his heart, as they say.
Me too, by the way. I've been to over 50 countries. So, I mean, I know like what our technology is going to do to improve many, many lives. And
Yeah.
the reason that these types of folks don't get any love is because it's simply not commercially viable. It's not profitable to serve them. So the dirty little secret of the entire crypto industry, shame on us for as a community for allowing it to go this way, is that you go back 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and the story was that blockchain and crypto, distributed ledger technologies, are going to enable banking the unbanked. Well, guess what? The same centralized gatekeepers that have erected barriers around the banking industry with stuff like AML and CFT and KYC, all this alphabet soup about who can and can't use these systems. Now those gatekeepers have erected barriers to all of the existing crypto networks, pretty much, except for us. So those 2 billion people that are not in crypto are never, ever going into the ones that exist today. Just full stop.
Right. And just humble brag, since you're talking about how many countries you visited, during my bodybuilding days, I went to 51 countries, Max. And I mean, it's pretty amazing that I still, I don't work out as much as I used to, but
you don't need to.
I don't need
genetic
to.
Advantage.
They disqualified me once I got the tattoo, but I still wear my bling. Okay, so hey, Max, I want to stop sharing here because I want to be able to read something to you. I happen to listen to a half-hour interview this weekend on a cigar walk with Richard Hart, and he is the founder of Hex and Pulse Chain. And I will tell you, the interviewer, and I'll find it and I'll put it in my show notes afterwards, but the interviewer was a real friendly guy, but his questions were not. They really, really attacked Richard based upon, trying to ask all of the scam questions, right? And I tell you what, I gained so much respect for Richard Hart watching that. And I will tell you that I learned probably more in that 30 minutes about crypto, assets in general, markets, than I have probably for the last decade. And I know that sounds crazy, but I literally stopped on my cigar walk, and there was one quote that I am going to hit enter, and it's going to go into the chat, and I'm going to read it. But I want everybody to please pay attention to this. Right now, Epic Cash started at, less than a penny and ended up going up to, at one point in time, 685. Now it is retraced. I checked this morning. I think it's trading around 70 cents. And that could make you go, damn, right? But then when you look back historically at all other assets that have gone through, this is what I learned, price discovery. What we are going through on this quest for superior money, the world just doesn't know about. So we will be going through price discovery, which is why maybe we can have a conversation before the end of the call about new to the street and why that is so important. Again, just to reinforce to the community. But price discovery is what needs to happen for us to get mass adoption. But I'm hitting enter. I just entered it into, why is it yelling at me? Oh, because my mouse is not there. Okay. Now I just put in, Richard Hart said, with any asset, there is an unknown period of price discovery. During price discovery, those exercising the muscle of delayed gratification almost always financially win big. What would you say to that, Max?
Yeah, well, as long as you pick the right horse, that is true. So I grew up in Silicon Valley in the .com boom. That was when I came of age. And back at that time, there were thousands of here today, gone tomorrow .com startups. Reminds me a lot of the ICO craze that I saw later in life. And so most of that stuff completely died, but the ones that emerged as winners, your Amazon, your Google, your Facebook, eBay, PayPal, these have created like trillions upon trillions of dollars of value for people, and those with the foresight to say, there is value here. I mean, I think Amazon stock went down 99%, something like that, in the original .com boom.
Yeah, it was declared dead. I remember it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very risky game, catching a falling knife. That's a great way to get your fingers chopped off. And so as the market's been melting down, it's really interesting to see other coins and tokens that are based on a lot of hard air and marketing spend with no substance underneath. Axie Infinity, I mean, not to pick on them, but there's a data point. The Axie Infinity system revenue declined 99% in this most recent thing. So if you're, estimate of the future value of the token comes from the activity that we were seeing in the good old days. It reminds me of when .com startups were like paying for lots of ad spend and Cisco routers and stuff. And then when they lost their funding and went out of business, those companies got tanked. And so it is perilous, but if you pick amidst the smoking rubble, the gems, you can have a lot of upside. I mean, I was explaining to an Uber driver yesterday. I was trying to explain to a very non-technical person what was going on here, and I said, okay, imagine like you ever buy a lottery ticket? Yes. All right, what happens? Well, most of the time I lose all my money, but every once in a while I can earn $1,000. I said, okay, but what about a lottery ticket? It also costs $1, where temporarily, if you have to sell it like tomorrow or something, maybe you lose a little bit of money. It's not going to zero. Here's why. But there is some downside, if you need your liquidity in the meantime. I didn't use that phrase, of course. You need to be aware of that. But basically, there is not just a possibility, but a strong probability, in my opinion, of these things paying off like lottery tickets. And so if you frame it in that way and look at it through that lens, then you go, oh my God, like let me go donate some bodily fluids, sell everything that isn't nailed down, and run through a wall to buy all I can before somebody else realizes what I just did.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we are with Epic Cash right now as Epic Cash holders is, And again, the purpose of this series is to prove that to you so that you can arrive at the same conclusion that I have, that you have, Max, that Todd Lewis has, that Yoga has, that Enrique has, that Islo has, Mother Trucker has. I can name them, keep naming them. I should stop naming because I'm missing just a ton of amazing people in our community, but you get it. So that is why this series exists. And what I want to kind of clarify, when Richard Hart was talking about it, he said, look, you go back to Bitcoin and you go into gold, you go into Apple stock, you go into Amazon, and you just take a look at the bumpy ride, which includes 95% retraces many times. If you exercise delayed gratification, that means don't freak out, don't sell, just hold it.
Well, no, there's actually one better. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I, as every YouTuber says, not financial advice, but
Right.
I teach wealth accumulation at Freeman U, and it sounds counterintuitive. I have two friends actually that they were following the story for some time, and then when we got up to $6, both of them, one guy came in for 10 grand, another guy for 100 grand, and they were like, I gotta buy today. It's going to the moon. I gotta buy right now. Well, are you sure? Like, dollar cost averaging? No, give it to me straight. Like, help me, bro. And okay, so
Right.
so it's $6, and now they're blowing me up, going, oh my God, the market's down. I'm gonna wait to buy any more to see how it goes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You just have a 90% discount. Like, you could put in, let's say you put in 10 grand at $6, and then you put in another 10 grand at $1. Well, you just increase the size of your position 6 times. If you do the math on that, I mean, that's how you, like, people talk about getting Lambos in crypto. That's how you end up owning the Lamborghini factory.
Right. But I think what I took away from what Richard Hart was saying is that person that bought 10 grand and sees it go down to 1 grand.
They should buy more.
No, but really, I think the markets prove that psychologically, this is why fear, FUD and FOMO exists. And it is because people freak out and they're like, oh, the sky is falling. I need to salvage whatever I can of my 10 grand.
I want to preserve what I have left before it goes to zero. Yeah, because stocks can go to zero. That's the thing. Stocks can go to zero, and you need to get out while you still can. A properly designed type of blockchain is more like real estate and cannot.
Correct. Luna went to 0.00001. I just listened to a cigar on a cigar walk. I listened to Jeff Berwick talked about, he actually got in at 0.00001, and in that general area, 10 grand became a couple million, and I believe him. I mean, I think that he had video of him doing this, and he was on with his guys, and they were all saying, "Dude, you're crazy," but he did it. He did it anyway. Oh, you're sharing your screen. What do we have there? Fear FOMO or FUD FOMO? Explain this, Max. You're sharing. We lost Max's mic.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. I have my clicky keyboard. Yeah. So the one on the left, I actually thank you, IOTA. The one on the right, that was some other names, but basically, back when I was first getting my feet wet in crypto, I haven't traded for years, but back in the day, that was how I learned. It's like a video game with real money, just sitting there learning, studying the tech and engaging with communities and stuff on my phone.
Hey,
and
what are these? Because it really is hard to see on the screen. Just
it's blurred on purpose. Yeah.
No, I know, but even what isn't blurred is kind of hard.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me see if I can scroll in here. Whoops. Whoops. Can you see that? Probably not.
I can just see some additional plates on the right.
Yeah. You know what? Here, let me see if I can scroll.
No, just tell us what are.
Yeah. So it's FUD FOMO. So the one on the left is FUD FOMO, FUD FOMO, and then the right is blockchain, BLOKCHN. And then I also had AGAU BTC, which is silver, gold, Bitcoin Core, scale up, and so on. So
That's great. That's great. Well, I can't wait to share mine with everybody. I'm just going to quickly share this story so people don't think I'm a douche when I ultimately show it to you. But when we're going to go over a little bit today, guys, because I want to get this story in. So when I was young, when I went through my career, did really, really well, and was part of an organization to where there was lots of companies invested, lots of exits, and so I found myself to be a multi-millionaire. And then in 2004, I decided to leave that company and go on my own way for a period of years, because I thought my tree grew to the sky. And I'm like, man, I should be the millionaire with a B. And so I went out on my own, started a new business. But in 2004, I bought a black Mercedes CLK 55 AMG that was forever my favorite car. But back then, even though I had millions, did I buy it with cash? Nah, you didn't do that back then. You should just finance everything, because you can make more in the markets than is your interest rate, so you finance it. Well, long story tolerable, I launched this business that was based upon premium photo gifts. So I could take somebody's photo like that was a personal photo that I took in a forest. I thought it was beautiful, and I could assign it to one of my digital artists who would go in there and they would paint it with this program that we created, that we had the IP on. And then you'd print it out on canvas and it would carry the look and feel of an original oil painting. And it was just amazing. So in 2007, I ended up getting on QVC, and you had like a 15-minute little period and just sold out of them like that. It was crazy. So I got invited back in 2008 to do 3 today's special values. Now, there are only 365 of those a year. So I got 3 of them. That means they promote you on top of the hour for 15 minutes for 24 hours. But to be there, you literally have to prove that you have all of the inventory at the ready based upon their projections for all 3 of the today's special values. Okay. And you have to have the manufacturing contracts in place so that when success happens, you can get them out with a turnaround that is going to fit QVC's standards. So I did that, but I didn't have the money to be able to do that. I put up cash. I put up my 2 homes. I put up my car. Everything is collateral. And I was ready to roll in 2008, man. And then guess what? The financial crisis of 2008 hit, and nobody bought anything premium. And I had to declare financial bankruptcy, and I lost my favorite car ever. It went bye-bye. And where I should have been heartbroken about some of the larger assets, it was that car. So Mr. P, who's my best friend, about 6 weeks ago, he sent me a link to Chicago Motors, and it was this silverish car that looked just like mine, except they added this package to it that made it a wide body. So cool. Had over 100,000 miles, 107,000 miles to be exact, but it looked beautiful and awesome. And Pooch says, well, your car does not self-identify as black anymore. It sure wants to come home. So I looked at it. I called him up. It's like where I bought mine new, $85,000. It was like 18.5. And so I called him and I'm like, does it run? And they're like, oh, the engine is just fine. I mean, it's just a 20-year-old car. And The top needs to be replaced and seats are really worn and just things that are easy, a fixer upper, right? To be able to bring it back. But the key was the engine was just fine. Their quote was, you can get 250, 300,000 miles out of this. So I ended up buying it and I bought it and I'm having the work done. But what I have also done is I ordered this license plate. Okay. And on the outside of it, so this is the outside, you've seen that where when you buy a car from a dealership, they put their, Freeman Chevrolet or whatever. And you're like, I don't want to advertise your stuff. So you can customize your own. So Max had the great idea of having at the top, this could be you. And then at the bottom, epic.tech. So I ordered that. So I have that in my garage right now. And then what I'm doing is I'm having my license plate. It's going to be custom and it's simply going to say Epic V. So to me, this is it's fun. I'll show it to you. But again, I'm saying this because I'm not presenting it to you like, hey, here's this really expensive car. No, it's just the fact that I feel like I'm coming home. And when I get that, I want to share it with you. So for me, it's just going to bring me some joy in my later years and maybe take the sting out of the fact that I went through a decade. I called it my lost decade. And I finally feel that I'm a little bit back. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, and that's great. Actually, I usually don't share a lot of details, but I will here since, it's only the community listening. Google won't allow anyone else to find you. So the one on the left is a Bentley Bentayga, and the one on the right is a Ferrari California T. Get this, when I bought those, it was 25 BTC, I remember. And then the market collapsed. And even though I bought them and then I sold them, like, I don't know, a few months later, it was really quick, like right around the 2018-ish meltdown phase. And when I sold them, I got 50 BTC back out. So even though I lost a bunch of dollars buying basically new cars and then selling them used, I got to drive them around. And for me, like cash, I ended up with more of what I cared about, which at that time was Bitcoin Core. So I felt pretty slick on the deal. And so, yeah, like I think the conspicuous consumption, especially in a time like now, is a bit in poor taste. I don't even have a car today. Uber is just so much easier. But really, why not you? I mean, a dear friend of mine told me one time, Max, you're a really hardworking, sharp guy. I think the only thing standing between you and being a billionaire is your belief that you can't be. And so it's been my pleasure to encourage people in the Epic ecosystem for the past couple of years to develop their own small businesses and to really think big. Batuhan in Turkey, he's not just doing that because he likes to. I mean, yes, he does. But I've been helping him develop his own, little marketing business and building it as a profit center. He lost his job and he was kind of trying to find his way in life. And I said, well, hey, there's an opportunity here. Why don't you get after it? And I've been helping him. Awesome. Another guy lost 625 grand. He's an Instagram marketer and TikTok and stuff. I'm supposed to talk to him later today. Jaron, if you're listening, I'll talk to you soon, brother. But the poor guy got blown up in the Luna Ponzi scheme, and now he's got that skill set and looking to put it to use. Okay, well, let me show you a world of opportunity, and you're going to miss that unless you dream. Like you always say, why not me? We're conditioned to like accept our miserable lot in life, and just like social mobility is on the decline. But here, if you're really bold and fearless, I know a guy, a friend of mine. He started out as an Uber driver. When he was an Uber driver, he put every paycheck, sleeping in his car, actually, into BTC, and he believed in it so much. And then when the Ethereum ICO came out, he took all his BTC and went all into Ethereum, and then of course crushed that. And a few years later, went from Uber driver to like living on the beach, retired,
That's the awesome story.
yeah. And I know tons that you'd never know it. Humble guys like walking on the street,
Yeah.
that not flashy and whatnot, but just like, I know they're out there, and I know that there's a pattern for success. And what we're doing here, and Freeman U, especially t.me/Freeman U, Freeman University can really teach people how to become financially independent. And because the people that are in our boat are not just looking to get rich so that they can become, apex predators.
Yeah.
They're looking to help people. I think what we have is really powerful beyond just the monetary sense.
Hey, Max, I've been thinking about this because I know we're close to coming to terms with New to the Street. And of course, Mike Mumola will be the face of this. And I really, really would love for your strategic thought. For me, I was thinking last night, I'm like, the quest for superior money is just so ripe for content for Mumola to go on and have those 6-7 minute interviews to almost like literally be able to weave all of these in and be able to say, look, for me, it's about superior money. And what is the future of superior money? And this is what led me really taking a deep dive and actually thinking about superior money. And not just in terms of cryptocurrency, but in terms of other assets, gold, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve digital credits. We should probably include real estate on here. Might not be a bad idea.
No, because it's not money. No, real
thank you. I was thinking, no, thank you. Okay. See, this is why Max Freeman.
You could add mobile phone minutes. M-Pesa in Africa, they use mobile phone minutes as money.
Oh, that's interesting. And they do that, and that's for the unbanked, right? That's kind of how they do it.
Rural societies actually still today use cattle as money. Cattle are actually pretty good money in those types of environments. Not as good as other things, as we'll see. But if we're really talking about the quest for superior money, it needs to compete against all those alternatives.
But don't you think that kind of overall narrative, instead of what is Epic Cash and why are we great, and talking about laying the foundation of superior money and then overlaying Epic and Bitcoin, gold, and everything. I just think, to me, it is, I'm a biz dev sales dude, but for me, it's kind of like it's third party validation. When you can get other people to agree with you on things instead of just going into lecture mode.
And that's beautiful.
And I can see Mike Mumola doing that with the skill. I mean, you guys all know Mike Mumola, man. There's not going to be any better representation of Epic Cash in our community than Mike Mumola on New to the Street. Max, can you tell us where we are with New to the Street and what needs to happen to finalize that?
Yeah, so we have final agreement on the verbiage, thanks to Mr. P, Mike Puccinelli, and Mike Mumola, who've been engaging with Ari and Dror over there to get that finalized. So that's great. We have the Epic part. So the compensation is that it's a 6-month agreement, and it basically, it costs them about 10 grand a month to do this. They're only asking for 5 in stable coins. They really want the rest of their comp package in Epic, and they've actually contractually agreed to hold it for the long term. So we're not just having a marketing exercise. We're actually bringing on motivated partners who are strongly incentivized to row the boat with us, because we're all making money in the same direction, which I think is pretty important.
I don't want people to miss that point, because it was really interesting in going back and forth and seeing the negotiations. It's like our concern, Mr. P had a concern, which was, hey, what's to say that we give these guys, the 5,000 Epic a month, and then they go immediately dump it and then dump our price down further. And so we brought that up as an issue to build in a period of time that they need to hold it before they could even think about that. And they were just almost laughing at us. They're like, guys, you totally misinterpret our motivations here. We believe in the coin and the project, and we look at this as our opportunity to plant or to feed that plant so that it can grow. It's like, we're not stepping over, dollars to collect pennies. No, we look at that as their words, as a precious asset. So I think maybe they listen to you too much, Max, because you talk about Epic as our precious asset in a reserve. But the other cool thing is, it's like it's a monthly thing, right? The agreed to amounts. The Epic comes monthly.
Let me take you through it.
Yeah,
let me take you through it. So basically, it's 25,000 Epic coins. Now, one of our enlightened design choices to ensure that we would have financial independence is that right now the protocol emits 5,760 coins per day, which is 1440 blocks per block. And currently, I think it's 5.5 or 6.6, one of those. There's a tiny slice that the miners essentially donate to the DAO treasury, and that provides a pool of resources for stuff like this. Stay tuned for a lot of things related to that. But for right now, the Epic part is covered. That's 25,000 coming from that dev fee that the miners essentially, they're in their enlightened self-interest funding, tech development, marketing spend, all our future growth, basically. So 25,000 Epic over 6 months. It's 10,000 the first month, 5,000 the second month, 2,500, and then what is it, 1,500, and then 1,000, 1,000. So as the value grows in fiat terms, that should be pretty stable or even growing, even though the number of coins declines. We're basically pricing it for success and aligning their time horizon. They call it a maturity mismatch in finance parlance. We're making sure that the maturities line up of the 6 months that this will really blossom. And so what we need to do is find a way to raise $5,000 worth of stable coins per month. We need 5,000 now and 5,000 per month on an ongoing basis. Sounds like a lot, but remember, they're going out of pocket for 10,000 and only asking us for 5. I think that's a strong signal of commitment.
Well,
so
and I can say, just doing the simple math that even Uncle V can do, is so 5,000 divided by, if 100 community members stepped up to do that, that's $50. And so, I'm here to say that I'm definitely in for more than $50 to be able to make this happen, because again, and I've said this 100 times, I look at my bag as my business, and there's no business out there that you can just invest in and sit back and do nothing and have it grow if you are going to be a responsible owner of a business. So for me, I don't mind investing in things that are vetted. Max, can you share with these guys? I know Luna's had their issues, but they used new to the street to be able to.
It wasn't Luna. It was Luna is in the Cosmos Atom ecosystem. They did work for Atom, which is solid and has not blown up.
Okay, so these guys new to the street did they did the same thing that they're
Cosmos Atom, Fetch AI, and Phantom, all of which have been very successful.
And how much did they improve during the engagement? Because right now, guys, for me, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that because of the Mike Momola effect, because the fact that we are going to work our butts off as a collective team of coming up with that 6 to 7 minute script that may come across as Momola just, and Mike, I'm sorry if it's Momola, and if I destroy it by saying Momola, I'm sorry. I don't know. I should have asked you that a long time ago. But for me, everything, to be able to really pull off something well from a persuasive standpoint, the best persuasive orators or those engaged in debate are the one that have their subject matter down so well that they don't come across like they are reading off a teleprompter or something. No, they add passion to it. And so Mike was an attorney, still is, by the way, but talk about the right guy for the right job that has the amazing business mind. But this guy gets up in front of juries. You talk about a guy who has all of the foundation to be persuasive. It's Mike. So I almost feel like we as a community are cheating because we have such a talent in our corner. Thank you, Mike. And so we are going to be so prepared. And we're going to have as the ultimate goal to be able to get people to arrive at the conclusion that when you think about the success of Bitcoin, we're going to educate them on why Epic Cash is superior. Now, that's when you're a 30, 40 million market cap, when you're a 20 million market cap, that takes a big set of cojones to actually call that shot. But that's the purpose of having friendlies, right? So new to the street, they're on our side of the table. New to the street is going to be providing questions that are preordained by us. We're going to be writing the script. We're going to be writing the questions. They'll be throwing us, lobbing us those balls for Mike to hit out of the park. So what, Max, I know at one point in time, they had made some kind of, the reason why they're willing to bet on Epic is because this is not their first rodeo. They've done this with a couple of other coins and they've seen the price appreciate. So can you imagine, supporting 50 UST a month for this to happen as a community, 100 of us, hopefully there's more, but imagine doing that. And then seeing your bag go from 60 cents, 70 cents to $50 in a half a year, $100 in a half a year. All I know is that price discovery will be executed during those 6 months. We will start getting discovered. And these are all the right people who we want to discover it, who might say, wow, I was thinking about investing some of my treasury into Bitcoin. Maybe I should look into this Epic Cash and be that CFO of that company who took a little bitty flyer on that little coin that I'm kind of getting comfortable with the fact that, yeah, they have a shot. Even though they're young, they're just undiscovered. They have a shot to flipping Bitcoin core. What say you, Max Freeman? Looks like you called a shot there.
Yeah, when we were under a penny, Do Kwon, the CEO of Terra, all of his arrogant prognostications about how Luna was going to dominate the world are now being rubbed in his face. And I don't do a lot of that, but it's just all this abuse every day for years. So if it's not Bitcoin, it's a shit coin, scam, this and that. I was like, okay, picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm going to put my, potential for humiliation up on the table and publicly, commit. You can go back in the chats and see when we were under a penny. I said, I'm around. I'm not selling till $1,000, and even then, with inflation, probably add a zero after that. But I was willing to, take that risk and commit to be laughed at if I was wrong, because I knew that we wouldn't be. So yes, absolutely. We are doing exactly what we set out to do, and it's still very early days. And every step forward that we take, I'm increasingly confident that we're on the right track. It's the reason it's been so slow is because defensive thinking A lot of other hares have gotten out ahead of us, but then they eventually get a stick in the spokes or blow up. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary solution. And we've always been relentlessly long-term focused.
That's why, you know, when Richard Hart said with any asset, there's an unknown period of price discovery. During price discovery, those exercising the muscle of delayed gratification almost always win big. That's why when I was on that walk, I just stopped and I listened and rewound and I typed that into my notes, because delayed gratification to me is I now just the muscle that I am exercising is to get out of any short-term thinking. And what I am thinking about right now is it is May 18th, 2022. I'm thinking about, through the price discovery over the next 3 years, where will Epic be? Personally, this is just me. I know not everybody is in my situation. I have a good job. I look at this as an investment, a necessary one for my future, but I have 3 years in me of delayed gratification. So it takes pressure off. It really does. If you can't now, I get it. You know, miners need to pay for electricity, need to sell. Things happen in people's lives. You need to sell. But really, you know, if you can take a certain percentage of your portfolio and just kind of lock it in over here in this sub wallet on Vite or on your on chain, and just say, no, that's my delayed gratification bucket. I think if we all do that, it's going to give yourself permission to be able to weather any storms that come. And maybe that delayed gratification turns into a huge, ginormous win for you financially, and for me financially, and for us financially. So I think with that, we have gone over, but it's been a great show. Thank you, Max, for pinch hitting for Todd Lewis. Everybody in the chat, thank you. I was just thinking it's pretty cool. This is, you know, crypto coffee. It's so early in the morning, and Friday at noon, it seems like we have about 30 people usually that are watching live. And I've seen it go over 20 today. And so that's very cool for me. Thank you very much. I wish everyone a fantastic week. The next time we see you, it'll be Friday at noon for our Epic Cash Live. I hope you got a good bit out of today's live stream. Really appreciate and love you all. And now I got to go back to my dear friends in the back, my zoo. Sorry, I have another call I have to get on. But I hope you enjoyed seeing my pet deer back there. They just started coming around, and I'm like, you know what? Need to feed them. What do you feed deer? So I went to a feed store, and they're like, oh, they love apple corn. So I go out there every morning with my spreader, and I spread it, and then I get my coffee and I go on my upper porch, and they come out of the woods and they enjoy. So I might share more of that with you in the future. Okay, guys. Cheers. Thanks, man.
Everybody, bye.